Before moving to Grimsby, Ontario, you need to watch this video as we're going to be jumping on the map and breaking down where Grimsby is located, the best and worst areas, where the local gems are, the shopping, the parks, the community centers you need to visit when living there, but also the areas you need to avoid when choosing your next home, whether it's close to train tracks, a wastewater treatment center, or the industrial areas. So if you want to learn everything about what it's like living in Grimsby, keep on watching. But let's jump on the map and first discuss where Grimsby is. So here is Grimsby. Now, if we zoom out on the map here, what we're going to notice is Grimsby is just a little bit east of Hamilton, west of St. Catharines, bordering Lake Ontario. Now, the geographic borders of Grimsby make it seem a lot bigger than it actually is, as if we flip on here and go to the actual neighborhoods, what we're gonna see, it really breaks it down into these different neighborhoods. And as you can see, about one half of Grimsby is gonna be Grimsby on the mountain. And this is really just a rural section that does have a Grimsby regional airport that has some small prop planes that come out of it, some great farm fields, some great estate properties, but the vast majority of Grimsby people are not gonna be living here. Where people are going to be living that live in Grimsby is going to be in one of these different neighborhoods. So we'll start off on the west and kind of make our way out east. So first one here is going to be at Grimsby on the lake. So while it does look this big, it's really concentrated more around where the QEW exit is. Right here is we're going to find the most amount of condo options and townhome options to choose from. You will find some older detached pockets kind of over here. However, the vast majority of options are going to be more newer townhomes and condos that have some great walkability to some local gems. Now, with that said, the walkability to get your basic errands done for everything is not going to be the best here. Now, we'll discuss more about the shopping in just a moment, but moves us on just a little bit more south is where you're going to be finding Casablanca. Now, as you can see, kind of like Grimsby on the lake or Grimsby on the water, you're going to really notice that again, Casablanca looks to be big, but if we actually zoom in here, a lot of this here is just farm fields, you know what I mean? We have a couple local shops just along here. However, the vast majority of the real estate is going to be more on the eastern end. As you can see, there's two different types of real estate that really happen here. You have one, the pocket kind of in the middle right here is going to be those newer-ish townhomes and detached homes, you know what I mean? Built, we'll call it anything circa 2005, 2015, typically speaking. And then kind of along the edges of it is where you're going to find homes that were more those bungalows, those side splits, those back splits that offer just great size yards, mature trees, and a more established setting. Now, with that said, both of these areas here do have a Fit for Less, a Rona, a Grimsby right here just off the QEW. Now, if we kind of move on over and discuss the next neighborhoods, we'll first start on Grimsby Lakeside. Now, here is primarily a residential neighborhood. It's pretty much all you're going to be finding at the Murray Street Park, as well as the Moroccan Park. Now, if you actually zoom out, one of the reasons why I absolutely love Grimsby is if you look out the Grimsby waterfront like view is, it's Oakville, it's Mississauga, it's Toronto skyline in the distance. So I absolutely love it, especially in those waterfront parks here in Grimsby Lakeside, as well as the Grimsby Beach. Here, you know what I mean, splitting them up, you kind of have the little marina right here that's got a great local restaurant, JJ on the Docks Eatery. But then also on the Grimsby on the beach here, again, very similar to Grimsby Lakeside, you know what I mean? A lot of the homes there were really built in the 80s, the 70s, a little bit into the 90s as well. Very established neighborhoods that offer great walkability with quiet streets. Now, with that said, the next area of Grimsby we'll quickly talk about is this core area here. Here is where not only you're going to find the most traffic, which we'll discuss in just a moment, but also the most amount of walkability you're going to be finding in Grimsby, and possibly the most amount of shopping, as you have kind of the downtown strip right here, but then just along it, you'll find a nice plaza here that's got a Canadian Tire, got a Shoppers Drug Mart, and a few other stores. And then just on the edge, kind of between Casablanca and downtown, is where you're going to find the Grimsby Peach Center that has a splash pad, has an outdoor rink, but also is home to the farmers market in the warmer months every single week right there as well. And then if we kind of just move a little bit more east, really talks about our last two neighborhoods, and that's Nels and Dorchester Estate. So similarly to Casablanca, you're going to find two different sections here. Now, the older section is typically going to be a little bit closer to the downtown, and that's the Nels part. And these homes here are going to, again, be those bungalows, those side splits, those back splits that are on mature trees. As you see, a lot of homes here have fantastic pools because the yard is so spacious. And then on the flip side, if you're you're looking for a bit newer real estate, that's where you're gonna find Dorchester. That's over here. As you see, the lots are a little bit smaller. Still fantastic opportunities, as these here are usually those 2-story homes, so have it usually maybe a little bit bigger square footage on the inside, with the lot being a bit smaller. However, offers some great accessibility as well. So just the nature that the Niagara Escarpment, you really feel when you're in like the Nels and Dorchester estate, when you're driving down these roads here and you have the escarpment right beside you. And then the final area is just Grimsby East. This is the last area. As you can see, a little bit more affordable, typically speaking, than Nels and Dorchester estate. However, some great options to choose from. You'll find some fantastic townhomes just along here. You actually see some great new ones right here as well. So that is the different neighborhoods of Grimsby. Now, if you're new here and want to learn everything about what it's like living in Grimsby, as well as the surrounding cities of Hamilton, Burlington, Oakville, Milton, and more, make sure to hit the subscribe button. My name is Matthew, the founding realtor of the Living in Hamilton channel and team. And for the past few years, we've been helping people just like yourselves relocate here and buy a home. So if you're thinking about making the move, whether it's in 60 days or in 6 months, send me and my team a message today. Otherwise, let's jump on here and take a look at exactly where all the shopping options are in Grimsby. So we'll talk about the parks in just a moment, same with the schools and the public transit. But if we first start a look at the shopping that you're going to need to know when living in Grimsby, we'll start out on the west side and kind of move our way east. So first one's technically not in Grimsby, but I'm sure if you live in Grimsby and you're going to be driving at any point in time into the Greater Toronto area, you are going to be stopping at this plaza here. This is a plaza in Winona, just on the outer edge of Stony Creek, and here has a Costco, has a Metro, has a variety of other stores. As you see, a variety of restaurants to choose from right off the QEW. So, and a fantastic option to definitely get your bulk options done. Then in terms of a nice little night out would be the Putty Combs Farms and Winery and Ciders to go get some wine tasting, grab a dinner, and enjoy it there. Now, if we kind of move over here, the next area we're really going to notice is going to be right here. Now, one of the great options about living in this area here is you do have a few local gems. Like here you got Niagara Chicken, you have Urban Craving, which is a fantastic like healthy alternative, kind of similar to Freshie, but in my opinion I think it's better. You have the Olive Board, which is a fantastic like charcuterie and wine night, and a bunch of other options to choose from, including just walking distance from Casablanca Beach, a fantastic beach, especially during those warmer months. Then, like I mentioned, we do have a couple of other options, so just off the QEW here, like the Rona, like the Loblaws, like the Fit-for-Less. And if we kind of continue moving a little bit more inward, one of the ones I want to mention quickly is the Sunray Orchards Market on Main here. This has fantastic produce, especially during the fall months, fantastic pies, fantastic baked goods. So you'll definitely need to check it out if you're living on the west side of Grimsby. Then in terms, if we keep moving on in here, you're going to be finding the main plaza, like we discussed, has lots of different shopping options to choose from to get your basic amenities done with that Canadian Tire, with the Shoppers Drug Mart, with the McDonald's, and a bunch of other stores. And then kind of along here is where you start to get into downtown Grimsby. And as you can see, as you really get into the middle one, where Elm Street meets Main Street, is we're going to find the most local gems to enjoy, as you got the 416 Coffee Industry, the Grimsby books to pick up a good read, and a variety of other shops. One of my personal favorites is the Station 1 Coffee House right here. Fantastic spot to grab a coffee and get some work done. We already talked about JJ's on the dock, so I won't mention that one. But just along Main Street here is also, you're going to find another smaller plaza right beside the Grimsby Hospital, or the West Lincoln Memorial Hospital more specifically, which is right now going under an expansion, adding an additional wing. So that's fantastic to see that they're meeting the demands of Grimsby. And moving forward just a little bit more east, as you notice, fewer options out here to choose from. Now, with that said, you got the 270s Bench Kitchen for a fantastic sandwich. Over here, you do have a little hardware store, as well as the YMCA, and including a few car dealerships over here, and actually Peninsula Ridge Winery Estates over here, another great spot to go get a wine flight. So now that you know the local gems in the shopping, let's flip on the parks and talk about a few of them. So you already heard me talk about the YMCA. As you notice, fantastic parks and beaches. One of the more notable ones is going to be the different public beaches along here, like Nels Beach, 40 Mile Creek, which offers some great walking walking trails along the harbor here. You got the Morocco and Murray Street Park, but then you also got Grimsby Beach right over here. And actually in this pocket right here is where you're going to find the Grimsby Painted Ladies. Here are some Victorian cottages, really painted with, it feels like, every single color under the rainbow, and is really a great spot to go spend an afternoon. Now, with that said, this isn't the best beaches. This is usually a rock beach here, or it is a rock beach more specifically. So nice thing to hang out with a lawn chair or whatever, but not the most necessarily comfortable to lie down, relax. Where you're going to be doing a bit more of that, Casablanca Beach offers a great opportunity, but where I would personally recommend going is just over here in Stony Creek at the 50 Point Beach Conservation Area. This is a large sandy beach that offers great opportunities to enjoy another marina, another great walking trails to enjoy as well. Then just a little bit more inward, as you can see, you're going to have a variety of different neighborhood parks all within walking distance pretty much throughout the different neighborhoods, but in particular, like I mentioned, the best community center in my opinion in Grimsby is going to be this Grimsby Peach King Center right here, and it's actually right beside the town hall of Grimsby as well. And then in terms of schools and where they're going to be found, here is where you're going to be finding it. As you can see, it's found throughout. Now in terms of the high schools, you have one right over here. This is the Blessed Trinity Catholic Secondary School, and then out on the east side is the West Niagara Secondary School. Those are the only two high schools for the region. However, as you can see, there's a variety of different elementary schools to choose from that offer great education options. Now, in terms of the public transit and what to expect when living in Grimsby, if we flip on here and see what the typical transit is in Grimsby to drive, get around, as when you're living in Grimsby, most of the time you're going to be car dependent. I'd recommend at least having one car, if not two, if you guys are really needing to drive around. So if we zoom out here, the first bottleneck is actually not going to be in Grimsby you need to know about. It's really this bottleneck right here where the QEW and the 403 meet in Burlington. Anytime you're traveling to the GTA, this is going to be a bottleneck, especially going over the Skyway. Next bottleneck you're really going to notice is between the Red Hill Valley and the QEW right here. And then as you kind of clear out into Stony Creek, the QEW actually moves quite well until you get into Grimsby. Now, as you can see, like, Grimsby overall moves very well. For the most part, no real bottlenecks. The only real bottleneck is going to really be through the downtown part of Grimsby, where you kind of got those heritage buildings, one way each way only. So it really gets condensed down and really just gets stagnated during the rush hour times. This here is just a typical traffic for Thursday at 4:55 p.m. But other than that, like, as you see, if you pop off here, the residential roads are super easy to get around. They're all two-way, so no worries about any one-way streets like you might find in Hamilton or St. Catharines, for example. So that's a fantastic option there. Now, in terms of if you're thinking about walking or the public transit exactly in Grimsby, first and foremost, as you see here, we have a walk score, we have a bike score, but we don't have a public transit score because there is no public transit in Grimsby. Now, in terms of the walkability, if we zoom in here and first look at the walk score kind of map that it offers for Grimsby and zoom in, what you're going to notice, the best walkability is going to be in that downtown area of Grimsby. And kind of as you move more eastward, as you move more westward, or vice versa, excuse me, it's going to be a little bit less walkable. But at the end of the day, if you're near Main Street, you are going to have some decent options to walk to, at least a small plaza, to get your basic amenities done. Where you're going to find the least walkable is really close to the Lake Ontario. It just gets a little bit harder because you're just on the other side of the QEW. Then in terms of the bikeability and where the bike lanes are, as you can see, not many bike lanes to choose from. The real ones here is just Grimsby on the Lake right here. You have one kind of going right down the 512 right here, and then one on Lake Street that kind of splits up Grimsby Beach, and then a little bit more over here as well. But as you can see, not the most amount of bike lanes to choose from. Now, with that said, if you go out onto Grimsby's Mountain or are just looking for a quiet street to ride your bike, many quiet streets in Grimsby, so it does check that box there. Now, since you stuck around to the end, I'll share the different areas you need to be aware of before moving to Grimsby. So the first one we'll talk about is the train line. Now, this is going to be expanded, and I imagine more trains are only going to be running here in the future as Grimsby's GO train station really gets out and as more GO trains really service the Niagara region. And where it runs is really along the QEW. So it's this blue line here, and as you can see, it runs right through here just behind the Peach King Center and then goes into Hamilton. And actually, that is going to be also right beside the next area, which is the light industrial area. So it's nothing like steel manufacturing in Hamilton. It's more like warehousing, general commercial, and some light industrial manufacturing goes on here. But for the vast majority of it, it really isn't that much. And then the last part you need to be aware of when living in Grimsby is the wastewater treatment. And that is going to be right here is where you're going to be finding it, right along the QW. It also offers a great dog park right here if you got a dog, want to throw him off the leash. Another great option to choose from. But that is everything you need to know before living in Grimsby. If you want to get this custom map to better determine where are the best and worst neighborhoods, then down below you can find a link to get your free copy of our Relocation Home Buyer Starter Kit that has not only maps of Grimsby, but of Hamilton, Burlington, Oakville, Milton, Guelph, and more. We're constantly expanding on it, as well as exclusive videos. So you can find that link down below. Now, if you want to learn more about another great waterfront community, the next video I recommend you go take a look at is my video covering everything you need to know about living in Winona, which is where that Costco is and where that 50-point conservation park is. So you can find that video right here. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.